They told me I should be grateful they hadn't sent me away already. That's what my daughter said to me. My daughter. The child I carried for 9 months. The girl I stayed up with through every fever, every nightmare, every broken heart. I was 73 years old, standing in the kitchen of the home I'd lived in for 42 years, and my own child was telling me I should be grateful. The house where I'd raised her. The walls that held every Christmas morning, every birthday cake, every family photo. The garden where my husband proposed. The bedroom where he took his last breath. All of it, they wanted to take all of it. But here's what they didn't know. Here's what they didn't count on. I wasn't finished. Not even close. Let me take you back. Back to when things made sense. Back to when I knew who I was. I met Robert when I was 22 years old. He was a factory worker, and I was a secretary at the plant office. We didn't have much, but we had plans. Dreams. We got married 6 months later in a small ceremony, just family and a few close friends. My dress was borrowed. The cake was homemade. But I had never felt richer in my entire life. We bought our first house 3 years later. It wasn't much, a small 2-bedroom on the edge of town, but it was ours. Robert worked double shifts. I took on sewing jobs from home, mending clothes for neighbors, making curtains, doing alterations. Every penny went into that house, into making it a home. When Tasha was born, everything changed. She was our miracle. We'd tried for so long, and when she finally came, it felt like the whole world lit up. I remember Robert crying in the delivery room, holding her tiny hand, promising her everything we had to give. And we gave it. God, we gave her everything. Robert worked himself to exhaustion so Tasha could have piano lessons. I took extra jobs so she could go on school trips. When she wanted to go to college, we remortgaged the house. When she got married, we paid for the wedding, every single detail. The venue, the flowers, the catering. We emptied our savings because that's what you do. That's what parents do. Tasha was our purpose. Our legacy. Our whole world. I taught her values. I taught her about loyalty, about family, about taking care of the people who love you. I taught her that family isn't just blood, it's commitment. It's showing up. It's sacrifice. I thought she was listening. I really did. Robert died on a Tuesday morning in March. Heart attack. He was 69 years old. 1 minute he was drinking his coffee, reading the newspaper, complaining about the weather. The next minute, he was on the floor, and I was screaming into the phone, begging the operator to send help faster, please, please faster. They couldn't save him. 47 years of marriage. 47 years of waking up next to the same person, knowing exactly how they take their coffee, which side of the bed they sleep on, what makes them laugh. Gone. Just, gone. The house became a tomb. Every room screamed his absence. His chair sat empty. His shoes stayed by the door. I couldn't move them. I couldn't touch anything. The silence was so loud it felt like drowning. I stopped sleeping in our bedroom. I couldn't. I'd lie there staring at his side of the bed, waiting for him to walk through the door, to tell me this was all some horrible mistake. But he never did. Tasha called every day those first few weeks. She'd ask how I was doing, if I needed anything, if I was eating. I appreciated it. I really did. It felt good to hear her voice, to feel like I still mattered to someone. Looking back now, I wonder if she was checking on me, or checking on the house. 3 months after Robert died, Tasha showed up with her husband, David. They sat me down at the kitchen table, the same table where we'd had 1,000 family dinners, and they looked so serious, so concerned. Mom, we're worried about you, Tasha said, reaching across to hold my hand. You're alone in this big house. What if something happens? What if you fall? What if you have a medical emergency and no one's here? David nodded along. We've been talking, and we think it would be best if you came to live with us. We have the space. The kids would love having Grandma around full-time. And we could take care of you. Take care of me. Those words should have felt comforting. They should have felt like love. But something in my stomach twisted. Something felt off. I don't know, I said slowly. This is my home. Robert and I. Mom, Tasha interrupted, squeezing my hand tighter. Dad's gone. You can't live in the past. You need to think about your future. About your safety. About what's practical. Think about the grandchildren, David added. Emma and Jake ask about you all the time. Wouldn't it be nice to see them every day? To be part of their daily lives? Emma and Jake. My grandchildren. My heart. They use them like a key, unlocking the door to my resistance. And honestly, Tasha continued, her voice dropping to something softer, more intimate, it would give us peace of mind. I can barely sleep at night thinking about you here alone. Please, Mom. Let us do this for you. Let us help. I looked at my daughter. I saw the concern in her eyes. I heard the love in her voice. I didn't see the trap. What about the house? I asked. We'll take care of it, David said quickly. We can handle the maintenance, make sure everything's looked after. You don't need to worry about any of that. You could even rent it out, Tasha suggested. Generate some income for yourself. But let's not worry about that right now. Let's just focus on getting you settled with us. I said yes. God help me, I said yes. The first month was nice. It really was. Tasha set me up in the guest room. It was small but comfortable. The grandchildren were excited to have me there. Emma would crawl into my bed in the mornings, and we'd read stories before school. Jake would show me his drawings, his Lego creations, his latest video game achievements. I felt needed again. Wanted. Like I had a purpose. But then things started to change. Small things at first. Things I told myself were nothing. Things I convinced myself I was imagining. Tasha mentioned that they needed the guest room for David's mother, who was visiting. Just for a week. Could I maybe move into the small room upstairs? The one they used for storage? It's just temporary, Mom, she assured me. Just until Marianne leaves. Marianne came and went. I stayed in the storage room. Then it was my things. The boxes I'd brought from home, photo albums, Robert's favorite books, my sewing machine, the quilts I'd made over the years. Mom, we just don't have space for all this, Tasha said, looking overwhelmed. Can we put some of it in the garage? Just temporarily? Temporarily turned into permanently. I'd go out to the garage to find something, a photo, a memento, and I'd find my boxes shoved into corners, covered in dust, clearly not valued. Not respected. Then it was the kitchen. I'd always loved cooking. It was how I showed love, how I contributed. But Tasha started hovering whenever I was in there, reorganizing after I cleaned, redoing things I'd just done. Mom, that's not where the dishes go. Mom, we don't cook it that way. Mom, the kids don't like that kind of food. Mom, maybe just let me handle dinner tonight. I went from being the matriarch of my own kitchen to being a visitor in someone else's. The living room was next. I'd sit in the armchair by the window, it had good light for reading, and Tasha would ask if I minded moving. David liked that spot for watching TV. Could I sit on the couch instead? Of course. Of course I could move. I always moved. Then it was my schedule. My routines. I'd mention wanting to visit my friend Margaret, and Tasha would find a reason why today wasn't good. Too much traffic. Bad weather coming. She needed my help with the kids. Always something. I'd been volunteering at the church thrift store for 15 years. Every Thursday morning. It was my social time, my purpose, my way of giving back. Mom, I don't think you should be driving anymore, Tasha said one day. Your reflexes aren't what they used to be. It's not safe. I've never had an accident, I protested. Yet, David interjected. You haven't had an accident yet. But at your age, anything could happen. We'd never forgive ourselves if something happened to you. They sold my car 2 weeks later. We'll drive you wherever you need to go, Tasha promised. But whenever I asked, they were busy. Always busy. My world got smaller. And smaller. And smaller. Before I continue, I want to know, where are you watching this from? Are you in a situation like mine? Do you know someone who is? Drop your location in the comments. Let's build a community of people who see this for what it really is. I stopped seeing Margaret altogether. Tasha said she'd heard Margaret was talking about me behind my back, saying unkind things. When I asked what things, Tasha got vague. I don't want to hurt you with the details, Mom. I just think it's better if you keep some distance. Real friends wouldn't say those kinds of things. I called Margaret once when Tasha and David were out. She sounded confused when I asked about it. Said what? Honey, I don't know what you're talking about. I've been worried sick about you. You stopped returning my calls. I hadn't received any calls from Margaret. Later, I'd find out Tasha had blocked her number on the house phone. For my own good, she'd say. To protect me from negativity. My doctor's appointments changed too. Tasha insisted on coming with me. Said she needed to hear what the doctor said firsthand since my memory wasn't as sharp anymore. That wasn't true. My memory was fine. But she'd already told the doctor I was getting forgetful, so now he looked at me with concern, spoke slowly, directed his answers to Tasha instead of me. I became invisible in my own medical care. When I protested, when I tried to assert myself, Tasha would sigh. That disappointed sigh. The one that made me feel small, difficult, ungrateful. Mom, we're just trying to help you. Why are you making this so hard? And I'd back down. I'd apologize. I'd tell myself she was right, I was being difficult, I should be grateful. Grateful. That word started appearing more and more. Mom, be grateful we have room for you. Mom, be grateful we're willing to drive you places. Mom, be grateful the kids still want to spend time with you. As if love was something I should be thankful for. As if family was a favor they were doing me. The money started coming up around month 6. Mom, we need to talk about finances, David said one evening, pulling out papers and a calculator. Having you here, it's expensive. The utilities have gone up. Food costs more. We're happy to do it, but we need to figure out a fair arrangement. I'll contribute, I said immediately. I have my Social Security. I can help with expenses. That's not enough, he said bluntly. Your Social Security barely covers a quarter of what you cost us monthly. We need to think bigger picture here. What do you mean? Tasha jumped in, her voice gentle. Mom, the house. Your house. It's just sitting there empty. You're not using it. We're spending thousands maintaining it. What if we sold it? Or put it in our name so we could manage it properly? The money could go toward your care here. Toward your future. My house. The house Robert and I built our life in. I don't know. That's a big decision. I need time to think. Of course, Tasha said, but her smile looked tight. Take your time. But just remember, Mom, we're already stretched thin here. David's been working overtime. I've had to cut back my hours to help with you and the kids. We can't keep this up indefinitely without some kind of contribution on your end. The message was clear, pay up or get out. The breaking point came at Thanksgiving. Tasha had insisted on hosting. The whole family would be there, her cousins, David's parents, everyone. She'd been planning for weeks, cooking, decorating, making everything perfect. I'd offered to help. I'd been cooking Thanksgiving dinner for decades. I knew every recipe by heart. That's sweet, Mom, but I've got it covered, Tasha said. Why don't you just relax? Enjoy being a guest for once. A guest. In what was supposed to be a family gathering. The day arrived, and the house filled with people. Everyone brought dishes, compliments, laughter. I sat in the corner of the living room, watching it all happen around me. Tasha had made the turkey. David's mother brought the stuffing. Cousin Jennifer made the pies, using my recipes, I noticed, the ones I'd taught Tasha years ago. When we sat down to eat, I reached for a spot at the main table. The table I'd always sat at. The table where the family matriarch belonged. Oh, Mom, Tasha said, touching my arm. We've set you up over here. At the kids' table. It's quieter, less overwhelming. We thought you'd be more comfortable. The kids' table. I was 73 years old, and my daughter had seated me at the children's table. I sat down without a word. What could I say? Make a scene? Prove I was the difficult, ungrateful mother she'd been painting me as? I watched from across the room as David carved the turkey. As Tasha accepted compliments on her recipes. As everyone toasted to family, to gratitude, to being together. No one toasted to me. Then, after dinner, as people gathered in the living room with coffee and pie, I heard it. David's mother, Mary Ann, asking Tasha about the future. About long-term plans. Well, Tasha said, her voice carrying across the room, we're looking into options. Mom's getting older, and her needs are only going to increase. We're thinking about assisted living facilities. There's a really nice one about 30 minutes from here. My blood turned to ice. What about her house? Someone asked. We're in the process of transferring ownership, David said. It makes sense. We're the ones maintaining it, paying for everything. And when it sells, that money can go toward her care. They were discussing my future. My home. My life. As if I wasn't even there. As if I was already gone. I waited until everyone left. Until it was just the three of us. We need to talk, I said. Tasha looked exhausted. Mom, I'm tired. Can this wait? No. It can't. I stood in the middle of their living room, and I said the words I'd been swallowing for months. I heard you today. Talking about assisted living. About selling my house. You didn't even ask me. You're making decisions about my life without me. Tasha's face shifted. The exhaustion turned to frustration. Because you're not capable of making these decisions anymore, Mom. You're not thinking clearly. There's nothing wrong with my mind. Isn't there? David said, stepping forward. You forget things. You get confused. You're not as sharp as you used to be. That's not an insult, it's reality. And we have to deal with reality. I haven't forgotten anything. You've been lying to me. Isolating me. Blocking my calls, selling my car, keeping me away from my friends. We've been protecting you. Tasha's voice rose. From people who would take advantage of you. From making stupid decisions. From hurting yourself. You don't get to control my life. Someone has to, she shouted back. Because you clearly can't do it yourself. Do you have any idea how hard this has been on us? Having you here, dealing with your needs, your moods, your constant demands. We've sacrificed everything, Mom. Everything. And you can't even be grateful. There it was again. Grateful. So what's the plan? I asked quietly. Put me in a home? Take my house? Erase me? Tasha's eyes filled with tears. We're trying to do what's best for everyone. Including you. What's best for me is having control of my own life. David laughed. It was cold. Sharp. You signed that over when you moved in here. We have power of attorney. We've been managing your finances. The house is already in our name, we had the papers drawn up months ago. You just don't remember signing them. My heart stopped. I never signed anything. You did, Tasha said softly. You were having a bad day, feeling confused. We helped you. To protect you. They'd forged my signature. They'd stolen my house. And there was nothing I could do about it. Or so they thought. I couldn't sleep that night. I lay in that tiny storage room, staring at the ceiling, my mind racing. Everything I'd built. Everything Robert and I had worked for. Gone. But something David had said bothered me. The way he'd said it. Too confident. Too rehearsed. The next morning, I pretended to take a nap. I left my door cracked open just slightly. And I heard them. David was on the phone with someone. A lawyer, I realized. Yeah, we're moving forward with the competency evaluation. Her doctors already documented the memory issues. No, she won't fight it. She doesn't even realize what's happening. Once we have guardianship, we can sell the house, access the accounts, all of it. The facility's willing to take her next month. Guardianship. They were going to have me declared mentally incompetent. They were going to take everything, not just the house, but my rights, my freedom, my identity. And I was supposed to sit there and let it happen. Tasha's voice joined in. What if she resists? What if she tries to fight back? She won't, David said. She's too weak. Too broken. By the time she realizes what's happening, it'll be too late. Too weak. Too broken. Too late. Those words echoed in my head. And something inside me, something I thought had died with Robert, roared back to life. I waited until they both left the house. Tasha took the kids to school. David went to work. And I walked out the front door. I walked 3 miles to Margaret's house. My feet ached. My heart pounded. But I kept moving. When she opened the door and saw me standing there, tears streaming down my face, she pulled me inside immediately. Oh honey, she whispered. Oh honey, what have they done to you? I told her everything. Every detail. Every manipulation. Every lie. And Margaret, God bless her, Margaret got angry. That's elder abuse, she said flatly. Financial exploitation. False imprisonment. Fraud. That's not family, sweetie. That's crime. She called her nephew. An attorney who specialized in elder law. He came to her house within an hour. I sat across from this young man, couldn't have been older than 40, and I told him my story again. He took notes. Asked questions. His face grew more serious with every answer. Finally, he looked up at me. Mrs. Peterson, they don't own your house. The papers they claim you signed, if you didn't sign them willingly, with full understanding, they're invalid. Forging your signature is fraud. And everything else you've described is textbook elder abuse. But they said they have power of attorney. Did you sign those papers knowingly? Understanding what they meant? No. I never signed anything giving them power of attorney. He smiled. It wasn't kind. It was the smile of someone about to go to war. Then they have nothing. And we're about to make sure they know it. We moved fast. My attorney filed for an emergency restraining order. He contacted the police about the fraud. He sent legal notices to Tasha and David's home, their workplace, everywhere they couldn't ignore it. He froze any attempts to access my accounts. He filed challenges to every document they claimed I'd signed. And he sent investigators to my house. The house Tasha said they'd been maintaining. They hadn't been maintaining it. They'd been emptying it. Furniture gone. Valuables missing. Robert's belongings, sold or discarded. They'd been systematically stripping my home while keeping me trapped miles away. The restraining order came through. Tasha and David were legally prohibited from contacting me, from coming near me, from accessing anything with my name on it. I didn't call them. I didn't warn them. I didn't give them a chance to prepare. I just watched, from Margaret's safe guest room, as their world imploded. Tasha called from a blocked number. Margaret answered, said I wasn't available, hung up. She called again. And again. And again. Then the emails started. Dozens of them. Hundreds of words of justification, explanation, guilt-tripping. Mom, please, there's been a misunderstanding. Mom, we were only trying to help. Mom, think about the children. My attorney sent a response, all communication must go through legal counsel. David showed up at Margaret's house. Pounded on the door. Demanded to see me. The police removed him. Their lawyer called my lawyer. Tried to negotiate. Tried to intimidate. Tried to claim I was being manipulated by outsiders, that I wasn't in my right mind. My attorney sent them the competency evaluation he'd arranged. From an independent doctor. Who confirmed what I already knew. There was nothing wrong with my mind. There never had been. 6 weeks later, we met in a conference room. Me, my attorney. Tasha, David, their attorney. This was the first time I'd seen my daughter since I left. I sold the house. Too many memories. Too much pain. Some places you can't go back to, and that's okay. I found a small apartment in a 55-plus community 2 hours away. Close enough to my old friends. Far enough from Tasha. It has big windows. A small garden. A room for my sewing machine. It's mine. Just mine. Tasha sends letters sometimes. I don't open them. She wants reconciliation. Wants me to forgive. Wants things to go back to normal. But there is no normal anymore. You can't undo what she did. You can't erase the months of manipulation, isolation, and betrayal. You can't unhear your own child planning to erase you. I miss the daughter I thought I had. I mourn her every day. But I won't sacrifice myself to keep pretending she still exists. Emma and Jake send drawings sometimes. Margaret picks them up and brings them to me. I put them on my refrigerator. I love those children. But I won't see them. Because seeing them means seeing Tasha. And I can't do that. Maybe someday. Maybe years from now when Emma and Jake are grown and can understand what happened. Maybe then we can have a relationship. But not now. Some people say I'm too harsh. That I should forgive. That family is family. Those people haven't lived in a prison built by someone who claimed to love them. If you're watching this and you see yourself in my story, if you're being isolated, controlled, manipulated, please hear me. It's not love. It's abuse. Love doesn't trap. Love doesn't erase. Love doesn't steal your identity and call it protection. You are not a burden. You are not too old to have autonomy. You are not confused for wanting control of your own life. An inheritance is not a right. Your children, your family, they are not entitled to what you've built just because you're aging. If someone is treating your assets like they already own them, if they're making decisions about your life without you, if they're isolating you from support systems, get help. Call a lawyer. Call Adult Protective Services. Call someone you trust. It's not too late. It's never too late. I was 73 when I reclaimed my life. 73 years old, and I started over. If I can do it, so can you. They told me I should be grateful. Grateful to be imprisoned. Grateful to be erased. Grateful to watch my own daughter steal my life piece by piece. But I'm not grateful. I'm free. And that's worth more than any inheritance, any family connection, any illusion of peace. I'm 74 now. I live alone. I sew quilts. I have coffee with Margaret every Wednesday. I volunteer at a new church. I am not anyone's burden. I am not anyone's victim. I am not finished. And neither are you.